Hi, welcome. I'm Matt from Joggers Brewing Co. And thank you so much for coming back and checking me out. Here today we're talking about the second part of the Cascade Homebrew collaboration that Brent and I did. And so where we left off last was you saw the essentially grain to glass video of the Rustic and the Kveik Saison versions here. And so that was part one of the experiment that I did for my side of the collaboration. And so Brett, what he did was he did the same recipe that I did. Now he bumped up his ABV just a little bit. I don't think that they're like totally like opposing of each other, right? So mine came out at 6.6 for the Rustic, 6.8 for the Framgarden, and then for his he got an even 7 out of his beers. And so he's got like a long-term project for like a third iteration of his, and I have a third iteration of mine. We've already sampled it together. We took a lot of notes and stuff like that. But it has been a little bit of time since he released his video. So I wanted to take the opportunity to kind of have my own experiment or experience with these beers. So the last video we talked about the grain to glass and what we did to the Rustic and the Framgarden. So a third part of my experiment was that I took the Rustic beer and I added some wood, some home roasted wood chips to the beer, right? And what I was trying to do, I wanted to mimic like a Saison that had been through a barrel program. I don't have the room or the space to really dedicate to a barrel project. You know, I've got these mini barrels or whatever, but I think that it would be a better experience if I had a bigger barrel. I was able to kind of control it better. I have used some of these smaller barrels before with varying results and all that. It was before I really started this channel, and so I didn't really take good notes with it. I feel like the experience that I had with them, like I said, it was mixed results. You could kind of taste a little bit of a difference. Don't really know what it added. So this is the wooded version of my Saison. This is the Rustic blend that I did. And all three of my examples are bottle conditioned beers. This one got a little bit more carbonated, it looks like, than both of my other examples. So this is the Rustic. Again, I put wood in the secondary. This is the Rustic here that was the base beer essentially. As far as colors, pretty well dead on. Doesn't look like the wood really added any kind of color difference. Now when I went over the tasting notes of it, and please check out the last video that this beer was in, you know, it had a very like phenolic taste, very phenolic type of smell. Some earthiness was going on with it. I still smell that. The bubble gum, it's all there. Everything that this yeast is known for is there. And so this was a redemption brew here for the base. Now for the wooded version here. So I'm picking up on some of those base characteristics. They're a little bit subdued though by the oak, and you can smell the oak. I smell like kind of like that oaky vanilla-ness there, and it's followed by bubblegum and a little bit of like that earthiness, the spiciness, followed by some of the phenols. Those things are subdued, where the oak and vanillins and like the bubblegum are kind of more out there at the beginning there too. Way more expressive. So, whereas the base rustic here had like a medium mouthfeel, this one does too. So the idea behind this project was I was trying to add that layer, another layer of complexity to the base beer, and we've done that for sure. Initially, when I taste tested it, especially when Brent and I taste tested it, I felt like it was a little over oaked. And now that it's had some time and some age to kind of settle down, it's not nearly as predominant in the taste. But it is there. I don't pick up so much on the vanillins with the taste. I do pick up on some of the oak. It's got like a very underlying taste to me of like some smokiness. I think you could definitely pick that out over this one. Yeah, for sure. So the oak definitely added another layer of complexity to it, and I don't pick up on that little hint of smoke in the base beer, which, I mean, I home roasted those oak chips to varying degrees of charredness, right? And so I couldn't really control that too well with that, because you know, I was using one of those like hand torches, hand home torches. So let's see here with Brett's version now that it's been some time here. I remember this beer here, and this is his bottled condition version. And during our taste test together of the beers, we kept coming back to his bottled condition version versus my base version. And so here's his bottled condition version. So in all reality, really, the Rustic here and his, he used Saison Parfait. His version should be the closest to each other. As far as color and clarity, I'm not really seeing too much difference. This one's been open for a little bit. This one I just opened up. Looks like it's got a little bit more carbonation than my Rustic. So with his, I definitely pick up on the characteristics that a Saison should have. We've got some of those phenols with the aroma presence, but it's subdued. Looking back at the notes, he had a little bit of a sulfur tick that we both picked up on. Mine did too on the Rustic version. Again, we noted that his had a pepper but it wasn't really clove type phenolics. I say that still stands true to today. This version here of his was 1061, stopped at 1008 for an ABV of 7%. I remember that it had a very sharp, like piercing tongue aspect to it, and I think that's died down. It's a very good like medium mouth feel, and it's kind of gone. That sharpness that it had has kind of subdued a little bit. He actually won a medal recently with this beer. I entered my rustic version. I think we both preferred this one just over this one, right? So I'm hoping that this thing does well in some competitions for me here really soon. His version, like I said, it won a medal recently. He was super ecstatic about that. He was happy to be able to add that score sheet to the Master Homebrew program for his ranks. And, you know, congratulations again, if you're watching this video. Outstanding job. This is a well executed beer, and I really wish that I had more of it, and I really wish that I had more of the rustic too, but it's definitely going to be time to rebrew the rustic for sure. It's got a little zest, I feel like, that I didn't taste originally in it. It's kind of like a little bit of lemon pepper zest at the end. Nice little twang. And then you get some of that floral earthiness too on the back end. Well executed beer. So that was his bottled conditioned version of the beer. Now let's sorry, I'm trying to keep some bugs and stuff out of my beers here. So now this is his kegged version here, and again, it's the same beer that we've brewed here with the rustic, the farm garden, my wood aged or wood secondary edition, and his bottle conditioned one. This wind has been ridiculous all day long. All right, so here's his keg version of the same beer. Look at that beautiful clean beer. That is some clarity. Again, according to style guidelines, clarity doesn't matter so much on Saisons. So here is the keg version to my rustic bottled condition. This one looks to be a little bit lighter than the rustic. And then compared to his bottle conditioned one, again, this one, the keg version, looks a little bit cleaner than his bottled version. How do they taste though? So I noticed a little bit of the sulfur on the nose. Well, there went that cover. It's kind of suppressed though, as far as any kind of phenols or esters go. I feel like I smell a little bit of the phenolics with it, but I pick up like a apricot type of ester here. That's pretty interesting. Again, a nice medium mouthfeel. This one feels like it's a fairly dry finish for sure. Again, it got down to 1008, which is probably the, yeah, his beers finished a little bit higher than both of mine did. But he got a little bit higher ABV too. He had a little bit higher starting gravity, hence that, you know. This is very good. I really think that his bottled condition though one has a little bit more character to it than the kegged version. For sure. This one feels a little bit more bland, his kegged version, versus the bottled conditioned one. It's more expressive. We're taking the whole trip, kind of so to speak, on the bottle conditioned one versus the kegged one. It tastes a little bit cleaner, a little bit crisper versus this one. Kind of get a little bit more alcohol taste to the kegged version too, whereas this one is a little bit more well-rounded. This is the rustic version, and as far as my personal preference, right, out of these 5 beers, so we have the rustic, we have the Framgarden Kveik, we have the rustic with wood chips, we have Cascades, bottled conditioned, and then we have his kegged version here. So out of all 5 of these, I still stand behind like my pull towards the rustic and his bottled conditioned one. Out of those two, I'm feeling the rustic has a lot more character to it. It's just a very nice pull. It feels like it's a little bit more well balanced as far as the yeast profile goes, right? And so I think this is a good experience with how yeast really affect the final product, especially when you're looking for those yeast expressions, right? If you're trying to do one of those crispy boy type beers where you're trying to have those yeast suppressions and you're trying to focus on more of the malt and the hop profile, and try to keep things a little bit more controlled and clean, neutral, and crisp, it would probably be harder to pick out that. I really feel like, so this is like number 1, right, the rustic, number 2, the Saison Parfait, and then I feel like number 3 honestly would be the rustic with wood. I think that we have the whole additional layer of character to it that's not offered in these 2 other beers. And then I still stand behind, I feel like that the Framgarden and the kegged version of these beers are on opposite ends of the spectrum there. They're still Saisons, right? They're still got some of those same characteristics that a Saison has, but they're whereas like these 3 are a little bit more towards the middle and kind of more prime examples of the style. I feel like the kegged version kind of is more subdued, more suppressed, So we're going a little bit more towards the negative side or the back end of it, whereas the farm garden is also on the other side going negatively on it, but in a different direction, if that makes any sense. So it's been a pleasure to be able to experience all 5 beers again at the same time, be able to take these notes and develop the perception of like the tasting palette and all that. I really appreciate the ability that I've been able to experience with this, and I really appreciate the ability to be able to approach another YouTuber and say, hey, I've got an idea, let's collaborate here, and let's take a gamble and let's brew the same beer and let's see what happens. And I cannot thank him enough for the opportunity. So if you're still hanging out and you haven't gone and checked out his channel or subscribed, please do so. If you're coming from his channel and you're not subbed to my channel, if you find me entertaining in the least bit, please subscribe. If you're new and this is your first experience with me, I really appreciate you stopping in, checking us out. And please remember to subscribe to this channel. I'm on Instagram almost daily, showing off some more behind the scenes stuff that I'm doing around here. We're a homestead home brewery. We just have fun with everything. I've been entering more and more competitions and really trying to hone in those skills of the mastery of home brewing and embracing the hobby. So until we meet again, my friends, cheers to every single one of you. Thank you so much for your support. Adios.